Hello everyone, this is Yash Nama. Thank you for joining me on this video. This is a revision question on break-even point, margin of safety, and marginal costing. So let's get started. Canned Veggies Limited is a company based in Victoria producing and selling canned vegetables. Since its inception in 2015, the company has sold its entire output of canned goods to supermarket chains which sell them as white label products. One advantage of this arrangement is that canned veggies incurs no marketing costs, but there is continued pressure from the supermarket chains on prices and margins are tight. Consequently, Canned Veggies Limited is considering selling some of its output under the Fresh Veggies brand. Margins will be better if output is sold under the Fresh Veggies brand, but there will be substantial marketing costs. The following information is made available to you. So we've got the sales for the year 2019, 5.94 million, and the forecasted sales for 2020, assuming all white label sales, is 6.27 million. We've got the manufacturing costs, 4.3 million for 2019, forecast for 2020, 4.45 million, admin costs, 1.2 million for 2019, forecast for 2020, 1.2 million, and operating profit 0.44 million for 2019 and 0.62 million is the forecast for 2020. Admin costs are fixed. In the year 2019, the company sold 18 million cans, and in the year 2020, the company expects to sell 19 million cans. For 2020, the per unit contribution on fresh veggies branded sales is expected to be 33% greater than white label sales, but variable marketing costs of 2 cents per can and fixed marketing costs of 400,000 will be incurred. Required. Using the high-low method, calculate the fixed manufacturing cost and variable manufacturing cost per unit for the year 2020, assuming all sales will be white label. So let's do this one by one. So we'll start with requirement A, which is to calculate the fixed manufacturing cost and variable manufacturing cost per unit for the year 2020, assuming all sales will be white label. So for the year 2019, the unit sales was 18 million cans, and the manufacturing costs was 4.3 million. For the year 2020, the unit sales are estimated to be 19 million cans, and the manufacturing costs is estimated to be 4.45 million. So incremental sales is 1 million cans, and incremental cost is equal to $150,000. So this means that the variable cost per unit is equal to 150,000 upon 1 million. It's 15 cents per can. Now that we have identified the variable costs per unit, let's figure out the fixed cost. So we know that total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost. So we can work with the 2020 number, for instance. So total cost for 2020 is 4.45 million, and this is equal to, we don't know what is fixed cost, so I'll say fixed cost plus variable cost. So this must be equal to fixed cost plus variable cost per unit, 15 cents per can, times number of units, 19 million cans. So 4.45 million is equal to fixed cost plus 19 million times 15 cents, 2.85 million. So fixed cost equals to 4.45 million minus 2.85 million. That is equal to 1.6 million. Okay. So we could have done this with the 2019 cost number as well. So instead of using 4.45 million, we could have worked with 4.3 million. But instead of using 19 million, we would be using 18 million cans. That's the only difference. Otherwise, you'd reach the same answer. So let's move on to part B. Part B requires us to calculate for the year 2020 the selling price and contribution margin per unit for white label sales and for fresh veggies branded sales. We have to assume that the manufacturing cost for the fresh veggies brand will be the same as for the white labels brand. Okay, so let's calculate this. Calculation of selling prices. Selling price per white label can. Now this can be calculated by dividing the total forecasted sales, 6.27 million, upon the estimated number of cans to be sold, which is 19 million cans. So selling price per can is 33 cents. Variable cost per white label can is 15 cents, which we calculated in part A. So contribution per white label can is equal to selling price minus variable cost, 18 cents. So once we've calculated the contribution per white label can, then we can easily calculate the contribution for the fresh veggies branded can. Why? Because we have been told that for the year 2020, the contribution on fresh veggies branded sales is expected to be 33% greater than white label sales. Okay, so we can easily calculate the contribution. So contribution per fresh veggies branded can is equal to 18 cents times 1.33, 33% higher. So this will be 24 cents. Now, once we've calculated the contribution margin, then we have to work to calculate the selling price per fresh veggies branded can. So selling price minus variable cost gives us contribution. Contribution plus variable cost will give us the selling price. However, we have also been told that the variable marketing cost of 2 cents will be there for fresh veggies branded products. So variable cost per fresh veggies branded can is equal to variable cost for the white label, 15 cents plus 2 cents of variable marketing costs. So this will be 17 cents variable cost per fresh veggies branded can, and selling price per fresh veggies branded can will be contribution plus variable cost, selling price 41 cents. Prepare a marginal costing income statement for the year 2020, assuming all sales will be white label. So let's prepare this. So we have already been given the sales number, which is 6.27 million. because the question says forecasted sales for 2020, all sales white label assumption is 6.27 million. Sales less variable costs. So here we only have variable manufacturing cost. So the variable manufacturing cost we already calculated in part A is 15 cents per can times 19 million cans produced and sold in 2020. Sales minus variable costs gives us contribution 6.27 million minus 2.85 million. 3.42 million is the contribution less fixed costs. Here we have manufacturing fixed costs, which is 1.6 million we calculated in part A, and fixed admin costs is 1.2 million. You could see between 2019 and 2020 the admin costs are the same. So operating profit is equal to contribution minus the sum of fixed costs. $620,000. So this is marginal costing income statement for 2020, assuming all sales will be white label. Now let's move on to part D. Calculate the break-even point and margin of safety, both in terms of number of units and in dollar sales for 2020, assuming all sales will be white label. So this is fairly simple. So we know that break-even point is equal to fixed cost upon contribution per unit. So fixed cost is equal to 1.6 million plus 1.2 million, 2.8 million, and we divide this number by contribution per unit, which we calculated in part B. Contribution per white label can is 18 cents. So the break-even point is 15,555,555 cans approximately. Now this is in units, and we also have to calculate break-even point in dollar terms. So units times selling price. Selling price we already calculated in part B is 33 cents per can for white label, $5.13 million. Now let's calculate the margin of safety, assuming all sales will be white label. So margin of safety is equal to current sales, which is 19 million cans, minus break-even sales 15.5 million cans. So 3.4 million cans will be the margin of safety, and in dollar terms the margin of safety will be 3.4 million cans times selling price per white label can 33 cents, 1.13 million. Now let's move on to part E. Prepare a contribution margin income statement for the year 2020, assuming 50% of the units sold will be white label and 50% of the units sold will be of the Fresh Veggies brand. Assume that manufacturing cost for Fresh Veggies brand will be the same as for white label brands. Okay, so this is the marginal costing income statement for 2020, assuming 50% white label sales and 50% Fresh Veggies branded sales. Now, total sales in 2020 was 19 million cans. 50% of 19 million will be white label, and 15% of 19 million will be Fresh Veggies branded sales. So I've prepared a table here where I have white label sales, Fresh Veggies, and total. So let's get going. So sales is equal to white label sales will be 19 million upon 2, 9.5 million cans times The selling price of white label, 33 cents per can. Again, fresh veggies brand, 19.5 million upon 2, 9.5 million cans times selling price of fresh veggies branded sales, 41 cents. So total sales is equal to 7.024 million. From sales, we deduct variable costs, manufacturing. Variable manufacturing cost is the same because we have been told that the manufacturing cost for fresh veggies brand will be the same as for the white label brands. So that will be 15 cents per can times 19 million upon 2, and the same here, 15 cents per can times 19 million upon 2. Total variable manufacturing cost is 2.85 million. Then we move on to variable marketing costs. Marketing costs variable, we do not have any variable marketing cost for white label branded sales. We only have variable marketing cost of 2 cents per can for fresh veggies branded sales. 0.02 times 19 million upon 2. 190,000 is the variable marketing cost. Sales minus variable cost will give us contribution. So contribution is 3.984 million. From this, we deduct fixed costs. We have fixed manufacturing costs, fixed marketing costs, and we also have fixed admin costs. Okay. Manufacturing cost, the fixed component we already calculated in part A, and this was 1.6 million. Then we have fixed admin costs, 1.2 million, and fixed marketing cost, $400,000 for the fresh veggies component only. Operating profit is equal to contribution minus the sum of fixed costs, $784,300. So this was marginal costing income statement for 2020, assuming 50% white label sales and 50% fresh veggies branded sales. Finally, let's move on to part F. Calculate the break-even point and margin of safety, both in terms of number of units and in dollar terms for the year 2020, assuming 50% of the units sold will be white label and 50% of the units sold will be fresh veggies branded. So let's calculate the break-even point and margin of safety for 2020, assuming 50% of white label sales and 50% of fresh veggies branded sales. Now, because we have two products in 2020, we have to work with a sales mix and then create a batch. So the sales mix is equal to 1:1 for white label and fresh veggies brand. So we are assuming that the company will sell one white label product for every one fresh veggies branded product because the sales mix is 50% white label, 50% fresh veggies branded. So we will create a batch. One batch is equal to one white label product plus one fresh veggies product. So contribution per batch is equal to contribution per white label can plus contribution per fresh veggies branded can, 42 cents. and selling price per batch is equal to selling price per white label can plus selling price per fresh veggies branded can. 74 cents is the selling price per batch. Now, break even batches is equal to fixed cost upon contribution per batch. Break-even batches is equal to fixed cost upon contribution per batch. So fixed cost is equal to 1.6 million plus 400,000 plus 1.2 million. So fixed cost is 3.2 million upon contribution per batch 42 cents. So break-even batches is equal to 7.629 million. Now break-even unit sales will be number of batches times 2, 15.25 million cans. Why did we multiply it by 2? Because one batch is two products, one white label product plus one fresh veggies product. So break-even unit sales will be break-even batches times 2. Next, we have to calculate break-even dollar sales. Break-even dollar sales will be break-even batches times selling price per batch. So break-even dollar sales is $5.64 million. So we've done the break-even point. Next, we will calculate the margin of safety. Margin of safety. Margin of safety is equal to current sales 19 million cans minus break-even sales 15.25 million cans. So margin of safety is 3.7 million cans, and margin of safety for dollar terms, the margin of safety in dollar terms will be 3.7 million cans upon 2 times selling price for white label can plus 3.74 million cans upon 2 times selling price for fresh veggies branded cans. So margin of safety in dollar terms is $1.38 million. So this is break-even point and margin of safety in terms of units and dollars for 2020, assuming 50% white label sales and 50% fresh veggies branded sales. If you have any questions, please email me and I'm happy to answer any queries. Thank you.